recreation and tourist attraction. Mangrove forests are relaxation points for many citizens who visit the area on sightseeing trips. The mangrove forest has a sweet-smelling aroma that is therapeutic when one spends time in it. The sea breeze that blows and serenades the trees is a soothing balm that calms a restless nerve. Scientific research is also carried out in the area to identify numerous species found within the forest. The mangrove forest of the Niger Delta contains numerous unidentified species. The forest is a living laboratory that requires further scientific work to identify and classify the species. Spiritual purpose. The mangrove forest serves as sites for libation and ancestral activities by natives who visit the area to derive some spiritual powers. Big trees are usually not cut, but allowed to grow and serves as points for libation by people that practices African traditional religion. The mangrove forest also serves as hiding place for natives during local wars. Production of dyes. The tree bark when boiled produces dye used by the clothing industry. The red mangrove tree bark is boiled in hot water to bring out dyes made of red to brown coloration. This is then used to dye fishing net, which help to disguise and attract fishes for higher catch by fishermen. The mangrove forest is also a region rich in crude oil and gas, which has made Nigeria the largest producer of crude oil in Africa and the sixth largest in the world. Threats to Niger Delta mangroves. The major threats to mangroves in the Niger Delta are oil and gas exploration, deforestation, dredging, urbanization and invasive nipa palm species. Oil exploration began when the first oil well was struck in Olobiri in the Niger Delta in 1956. Since the striking of this oil well, thousands of other oil wells had been drilled, resulting to millions of crude oil spillages. The oil spillages had led to the constant pollution of the mangrove forest, leading to the death of numerous mangrove stands. Additionally, the exploratory process involves different stages such as deforestation activities aimed at creating a right-of-way passage, ROW, for oil pipelines, building of boot camps for seismic workers within the forest, etc., leading to the truncation of wildlife activities. Similarly, the use of explosives such as dynamites during exploration for crude oil also led to the death of organisms and the destruction of the forest. Indiscriminate sand dredging is high in the area and had led to the disappearance of many coastal communities because of their conversion from aquatic to a terrestrial environment for the purpose of land expansion to establish residential and industrial quarters. The mangrove forest once destroyed takes up to 15 years or more to revegetate as compared to the rainforest that takes 5 years to regrow. This shows that all aspects of oil exploration are inimical to the mangroves right from the pre-exploratory, exploratory and post-exploratory stages. This is because each stage of oil and gas exploration involves hydrocarbon pollution and physical destruction of the mangrove forest. Pollution impacts flora and fauna. For instance, oils from spillages clog the roots of mangroves, causing outright death through the suffocation of the lenticels, leaf yellowing and defoliation. Pollution has effect on mollusk, crustaceans, echinoderms, polychaetes, cnidarians, oysters, scallops, periwinkles and different species of fishes that inhabit the mangrove forest. Similarly, the immobility of benthic organisms predisposes them to death from pollution. Different species of crabs such as Calonectes pallidus, Yucca tangeri, Austria tulipon Guniopsis pelliere also affected by pollutants. Urbanization is also a major threat to the mangroves. This is because population explosion in Nigeria, which is the most populous country in Africa, had led to the migration of a large number of people numbering over 20 million into coastal regions of the Niger Delta to establish houses. Industrialization of wetland areas leads to the urbanization of rural areas that were formerly a habitat for mangroves. Increase in anthropogenic activities around mangrove forest have resulted to the invasion by opportunistic nipa palms, Nipa fruticans, and other alien species. The nipa palms were intentionally introduced in 1906 for the purpose of fighting coastal erosion. The palms were originally not a threat to the mangroves, but within the last 30 years, due to unabated anthropogenic activities, they have become a major threat to mangroves after hydrocarbon pollution. They have currently displaced 5% of the entire mangrove forest in the last 20 years, caused mainly by oil and gas exploration, urbanization and deforestation, which had opened up the forest to further exploitation. Despite the impacts of the aforementioned factors, mangroves are still resilient to environmental perturbations and have robust growth in the Niger Delta. However, The current threat to mangroves that can lead to their extinction is the interaction of all the factors. It is found that mangroves can survive hydrocarbon pollution by adapting to the contaminated environment through the activities of increased soil fertility via hydrocarbon-utilizing bacteria. They can also survive some forms of selective deforestation aimed at harvesting firewood for human use. They can also survive invasion by Nipah palm propagules as long as their soil quality is not reduced as a result of the actions of solid and liquid waste. But they would hardly survive when all the aforementioned factors combine and overwhelm them,